The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com.
Here is a question I've gotten that gives me pause to think about this. You ever date somebody that you're so attracted to in terms of their character, but there's just something about their looks that drives you batty, and you start to feel guilty? You should love them. You should be able to just push aside the looks, but you can't. Every time you open your eyes, the looks are right there, and the thing that you don't like about them is there in your face. How do you deal with that situation? George is having that problem. Good afternoon, Dr. Kenner. I am 48 years old. Recently, I have fallen in love with an incredible woman. Shelley is everything I could ask for and more. My number one. Let that set for a moment. Now here comes the second part. Although she's a beautiful and young-looking 54-year-old woman, 6 years difference between them, he's 48, some parts of her body don't fully attract me. My dilemma is that I think I should be picturing my ideal partner and not settle till I find her. The problem is, I know Shelley is the ideal woman when I consider her inner beauty, but not quite when I consider the outer beauty. Yet, our sex life is phenomenal. I am absolutely paralyzed by this and can't seem to be able to decide what to do or think about it. I spend so much time thinking about this. On one hand, I think I should end the relationship and pursue my ideal. But I fear I may never find someone like Shelley. And on the other hand, I just want to continue with her, but fear I may wake up one day and feel I betrayed myself. Gosh, I hate having these fears. Thank you for your advice, George. Okay, my guess is that my husband has a picture of the ideal woman, George. An ideal woman that doesn't quite match what I look like, even though I'm pretty. And even though I'm perky. The ideal may not have my skin. She may have younger skin. The ideal may not have an age spot on my face. Actually, that's something fixable. I actually had my dermatologist took off that little spot with liquid nitrogen. But my husband has an ideal image of who he would like me to be, and I can't compete with that ideal. There's no way I can compete with it because it's in his head. He can imagine it. He can imagine me being much better endowed, you know where. He can imagine me maybe having a little more weight in some places, and he can imagine different eyes. He can imagine that. I can't compete with that, except for I have one big advantage over my husband's imaginary partner.
Hey, I got to interrupt this because we've got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, that's it. A very quick ad, and then Ellen will be back.
Romance. I wish I knew more about what girls want from a relationship. Boy, I wish I knew more about what I want.
Where's that ad I saw?
Here it is. The Selfish Path to Romance, a serious romance guidebook. Download Chapter 1 for free at selfishromance.com and buy it at amazon.com. The Selfish Path to Romance. That is interesting.
Except for I have one big advantage over my husband's imaginary partner. I exist. She doesn't. So partly you need to recognize that we all have ideal partners, images that we've grown up from childhood. I fell in love with a lifeguard named Saul. I was a little tyke at a swimming pool. He was my ideal, and I wanted to marry someone like Saul. Does my husband look exactly like Saul? I don't even know what Saul looks like now. It's been so many years. Actually, I know he was... I do know what he looks like. Haha. It's coming back with that warm smile. My husband doesn't look exactly like Saul. I love my husband, and I love my husband's looks. So when you get to know a person, looks can matter less and less with time, or you come to love the looks of someone whose looks you didn't initially feel so attracted to. So character is fundamental. The fact that your sex life is phenomenal, the fact that you love so much about her, it puts a big question mark in my mind. You don't want to drive yourself crazy with thinking that there's some imaginary woman out there, some real woman who matches your ideal. Now, I'm wondering if the age isn't a problem. A 6 years age difference, a lot can happen to skin in 6 years. A lot can happen to facial hairs around the age of 54. Women can start getting facial hairs. I'm wondering if there aren't some things that are actually fixable if you have the courage to speak up very lovingly to her, like my husband did with the little brown spot on my face. It's gone. If you're projecting forward and thinking, oh my God, a 6-year age difference might be a problem moving forward, yeah, it may be. The wrinkles she may age faster or slower. Some people do age slower. So the physical, it's not terrible that you're focused on the physical with her, because you wake up with the person, you're with that person day in and day out. You want to like their looks. Like the figure Scott Hamilton, I never liked his looks, but when I got to know him as a skater and as a person, I loved him. And then I started just loving his looks because it was Scott. So that can change over time. I'm wondering if there is something more, if you're focused on the physical because it's covering up other problems in the relationship. Maybe fears of commitment or communication problems. Maybe you're wanting out. Sometimes people focus on the physical problems when there's really something deeper. You can also watch the movie Cyrano de Bergerac because it's exactly the theme you're talking about. So I would sit down with paper and pencil and write down everything you don't like about her looks and everything you love about her, and then weigh them. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner on the Rational Basis of Happiness.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by clinical psychologist Dr. Ellen Kenner and co-author Dr. Edwin Locke.
You can share the same religion or secular philosophy, be of the same race and nationality, or come from the same social background, and still be different in enough fundamental ways, including sense of life, to make a successful romantic relationship impossible. Your aspirations for the future need to be compatible. For example, it is important for partners to be comfortable with each other's level of ambition. This does not mean both need to have the same level of ambition, but their ambitions should not conflict. One partner may need to work long hours or move frequently to get ahead. The other partner must be on board with this for the relationship to work.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com, and you can buy the book at amazon.com.